Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Home Health Chronicles, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I am joined today by Angela, who is a clinician, and she had experienced a situation. And I just want to preface this with that we are sharing these stories not to create fear, but really to help other clinicians recognize warning signs, prepare for difficult situations, and hopefully prevent something similar from happening. So, Angela, thank you for joining me today. And if you want to just introduce yourself, tell us who you are, what discipline you are, and kind of how long you've worked in home health.
So my name's Angela. I am a home health nurse. I've actually been doing it for 14 years. So I have seen everything and anything. You can't shock me anymore. You can't scare me anymore. This story actually happened about 8.5 years ago. I was a case manager at the time, and I had had a patient who I had known and been taking care of for years. He was a known diabetic and needed a foot amputation, and he was dead set that he was leaving this world with all of his pieces, one way or another, still attached. Um, I went in to see him, and he was just not acting right, very combative, argumentative. I did let him, I got his wife to come and help me and his daughter. And I said, hey, like, can we like check his blood sugar? Let's see what's going on. And we checked his blood sugar and it was very low. And I called the paramedics and I said, hey, like, it's so low. I can't seem to get it to come back up. Like, he's refusing to eat or drink anything. So they came out. He had horrifically bad veins. They attempted to put a line in him to give him some D5W, and he pulled out a bat and he started swinging.
Gosh.
And there is me, two paramedics, the wife, and the daughter in the room. The paramedics were like, we're going to stand by. Um, I was on the phone with the police immediately, trying to talk to him. He's like, I don't know who you are. I don't know who any of these people are. And it was his family. And I'm trying to talk to him. And I'm like, I think if you eat, you might feel better. Here, have a Coke. You never get one of these.
Yeah.
And as I'm trying to talk to him, he pulls a gun. Um,
Oh my
and
gosh.
immediately, again, we're all in this bedroom with him. He proceeds to tell us that he's going to shoot us. His wife is trying to like grab things, and she's like, I don't even think it works. And I was like, this is not the time to find out. Please get away from him. So I'm trying to get the family out of the room and make sure that he's okay, but he is like wildly all over the place. I'm waiting for the cops to arrive. The first cop to arrive on scene was a brand new cop. It was his first day
Oh
off
no.
training.
Oh no.
He was a nervous wreck, and he's like, we're just, I'm like, no, I'm like, this is part medical. And I'm like, but this is serious. Like, he does actually have like a 22 in there. Um, at this point, we are barricaded in the house. The cops are coming in, attempting to diffuse the situation. Um,
Are you in
I
the room with him?
I am yes, I am like in there with him,
Oh my
um,
gosh.
trying to talk to the cop through the door. I'm like, because he shut the door, and like I'm trying to get him calm. He kind of doesn't realize I'm there. I get out of the door. I get out of the room, and he barricades the door again without me in there. Um, I was texting my supervisor to let her know what was happening. And she was like, just like keep me up to date on the situation. I called my mom. My mom was watching my daughter, who was a year and a half old at the time. And all I could tell my mom was, my patient has a gun. Please turn on the news. If there's a shooting in this town, it's me. And I need you to have the diaper bag ready to take the baby to the hospital because it's me. And I need you to find where I'm at. And my mom was like, okay, the diaper bag is packed. I'm turning on the news right now. Please let me know what's going on. Because at this point, I'm still on the phone with dispatch. I'm trying to talk to the patient. I'm trying to talk to the cops, trying to hit the patient down. It ended up taking 6 cops to subdue him, and get the gun
Oh,
off of him. He was taken to the hospital. He was an involuntary commit. His wife and she ended up calling me. She was very upset. She didn't know what to do. She ended up opting for the amputation. And he had his lower leg amputated, was perfectly fine from my understanding. He did lose his guns for a period of time.
Oh, so my gosh.
my I obviously walked away. I was actually there for 3 hours. So it was a very long ordeal. I called my supervisor to let her know what had happened and like, hey, this is the situation. And she was like, well, are you good enough to come to work tomorrow? Or like, do you think you're gonna need a day? And I was like, I mean, I think I'm okay. Like I don't really know. Like I'm sitting in my car after sitting in this apartment
Like,
for 3 hours, like
I need a week. Like, I need the rest of the week. You need to
and
just find somebody.
like I mean, we kind of talked about it, but not really. Like there wasn't really like a debrief. I had a whole bunch of the field staff who were aware of the situation who reached out and were calling me to check on me. But it was very much like, well, it was like a medical problem, and I was like, it was, but like him pulling a gun and trying to hit me with a bat. And I was like, thank goodness, like I'm smaller and I was able to get out of the way of the bat and the gun and all the things that he was throwing. And I mean, the poor paramedics, I mean, we were trying so hard. And I believe that we did end up putting him on the do not readmit list just because it was such a awful situation.
Yeah.
His wife did end up calling me again, like a couple months later, and was like apologetic for everything. And I was like, listen, like it wasn't anything you did. He was not in his right mind. His blood sugar, I believe, and again, it's been a while, but I'm pretty sure it was in the 40s. Like he really was not aware of what was happening. And I was like, and I'm aware that you guys weren't doing this. And I said, but when the doctors and myself have all been telling you, like, this is what you need to do. This is why your blood sugars are going from 600 to 30 to 600. And you're telling us, no, like, it's not just you who put, like, who was in danger. You put everybody in that entire situation, like your wife and your older daughter in danger.
And there's nothing that's going to stop it from happening again, potentially, if you're not now following these instructions.
Yes.
And
Yes. And that was
it could
part
have
of like,
gone much worse.
oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um,
Was there anything like when you walked into that visit? Because a lot of times I feel like we get comfortable with patients that we know. And so, was there any warning signs when you immediately walked in that had you kind of like your spidey senses tingling in a sense going into
no,
that visit?
he always met me at the kitchen table. So we started at the kitchen table and ended up migrating to his bedroom. So he, again, like the visit started okay. And then I started to talk to him about like his foot and he started to get very agitated.
Mhm.
And then he became like very diaphoretic. And that's when I noticed he was very like symptomatic of being hypoglycemic. And I was like, hey, let's check
Yeah.
your blood sugar. And they were like, oh, his kit's in his room. And he kind of was like stomping towards his room. And I was like, well, hey, like I'll just check it for you while I'm here. Like I'll make this so easy for you. And I had never been in there before, but I knew that something was wrong. And I didn't want to just leave. But
Right.
that
Because
was
it wouldn't
really, that was
typically
it. And
escalate to
no,
something like that.
and again, I had been taking care of this man for years. And
Yeah.
it was not the first time I had went into his room to grab his glucometer either. So me walking in there was not something abnormal. Me letting myself into his house, like going into the kitchen, was not anything abnormal. They knew I was coming. I had talked to him the night before. So nothing out of the ordinary until like we checked it and I was like, oh, it's really low. Let's start eating and drinking. And that's when he absolutely
He
just
just
lost
flipped.
his mind. Yeah.
Did you know that he had a gun in the home?
No.
No. Okay. Is that something your agency screens for that you know of?
No. So I was actually
No.
I'm with another agency now. And this other agency I was with for like 9 years, and then my
Hmm.
current agency for about 5. And there are no screenings with either company
Yeah.
about guns or anything at all.
Yeah. And I really think there should be in this welcome call specifically for reasons like this, right? Because you never know when a situation can flip. And if somebody, it's not always on that first visit when you don't know the situation. This is somebody you have been seeing for a long time and know the
Yes.
situation, that these screening calls should be happening where are there guns in the home? Are there pets in the home? You need to secure the guns. They need to be locked away, and your pets need to be locked away as well for the safety of our clinicians. And if they can't comply with these standards, then you don't get services.
My company I currently work for actually got rid of welcome calls, and I am now an intake
Wow.
nurse. So I
Okay.
am walking into all
You
the
don't know what.
things. I have no idea what I'm walking into. Actually, they just released on the news that they are increasing the police patrols in the one territory that I covered due to the amount of shootings and violence.
So do you take it upon yourself at times now, going what you've gone through, to do some of these preemptive screening when you call to schedule your patients?
So some of the areas I know are not good areas, so I make sure those are in the morning. I
Yeah.
have friends that I work with who, like, if I'm like, I really don't feel good about this, I will tell them where I'm at. I will tell them, hey, if you don't hear from me in X amount of time, please call the cops. I was probably chopped to pieces. Like, please come find me. I have heard people like dogs barking in the background or whatever, and I'll say, like, hey, like, can you just make sure your dog is up? Or, um, please just make sure like the area is clean that I'm going to be coming into with nothing laying out. I mean, I
Yeah.
live very rural, so people having guns is not unheard of. So it has,
Yeah.
but and
I'm in
I've had to,
Texas, so most
I've
people
done
do.
some very interesting education, like why we should probably not put our revolver on our rollator when we fall every other day and try and catch ourselves on our rollator. But like for the most part, it hasn't. Most of the people are really good about locking them up, and I can honestly say, like, I've never had a patient that I haven't known who've done something like that. We actually very recently last year had a patient who my one friend had been taking care of for about a couple months, and he met her at the door and held her at gunpoint in his house. And it turned out, and she knew him, and it turned out that he had been on a drug and alcohol bender for about 4 days. And our supervisor actually asked her, "Do you think you could go back and do an in-person discharge? Because it doesn't look
No.
good if we do a 66, like a phone DC." And she's like, "He had a gun in my face, like literally pointed at my face." And she's like, "So we are not going back there ever."
It's insane.
She would
It's
like
okay.
message me to
It'll be
tell me what
okay
was
to do a desk
happening.
TC.
Yeah, she messaged me to tell me what was happening and was like, if his name comes back through, please do not go there. Do not open him. And I told like the other two intake nurses, like the same scenario, like, don't do it. Like, this is the name. Do not do it. It's not safe. And I was like, I mean, it was interesting when I was there, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah. But it could be. I mean, those
It could be. I
situations
mean,
they can turn on a dime,
a lot of people are
and you
just,
just don't.
they have guns or knives or various paraphernalia, but they're, for the most part, they're so happy that like we're there that they're not usually doing anything. And I've actually been in places where they told me like the only reason you're safe is because you're here seeing like a gang member's family member. We know not to touch you.
Yeah.
And if that's what it takes for me to do
Still
my
puts you on
visit, then
edge a little bit,
that's
though.
what it takes for me to do my visit. But they're usually just so
Yeah.
thankful that like I don't run into any problems. And again, I have an area that is a definite problem. And I've had family members who have waited outside for me and walked me to and from my car. Like, yes, there were guns in the house, but I was like, at this point, you're here to, I guess, protect me, and I'm not mad about it. But
Yeah.
it does make an interesting conversation. I always tell people too, like the biggest thing is like putting yourself between the patient and the door. That day, obviously, the patient got behind me when he pulled the gun and the bat, but everything would happen. I mean, it was a small room, furniture, four people in there between me, the wife, the daughter, and the patient, and the paramedics. And then they were jumping out, and I was trying to stop him from taking a header to the floor. And before I knew it, I was up against like the nightstand, and he's at the door, and everybody else is on the other side except for me. But I always tell people like that's the biggest thing is like just knowing your
Know your
exits.
exits. Yes.
Yes.
I
Yes.
was going to say, what is something that somebody listening to this, what is one thing you would want them to take away from this situation?
Always know your, like, honestly, that's the biggest thing I tell people is like just know your exits, know how to unlock a door. The amount of times like people lock the door behind you because it's something they're used to doing and they don't even think that that can be
Yeah.
like a concern. I just tell people like know your exits, whether that's I came in through the front door but I'm sitting across from a screen door, or oh, the garage exit is over here. Like just kind of getting a feel for the house when you kind of walk in. And then again,
Yeah.
just trying to make sure that like you know how to get back out of the house. And I know it's so much easier said than done, but like when something goes sideways, like you have to be calm. Like you can't panic, you can't freak out. Like you have to like breathe and think about what you're doing to keep yourself safe.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. I've been in that same situation, not that situation, but where the patients or the family members will lock the door right after you get in. And
Yeah,
I go to leave and I'm like, why are there like four different locks on here? And I was like, how do I get out? And I didn't, you don't think about that. If there was something happening, you need to leave this house. Those precious 15, 20 seconds could make a world of a difference. So knowing
yes.
your exits, knowing when you do walk in, do they lock the door? You say, can you leave it unlocked? Or you're looking at different exits around the house. And what you would do a lot of times, I mean, I do the same thing. I get comfortable just walking into the homes because we do it day in
All the
and day
time.
out. And
Yes.
it's just a routine and we're not always kind of being aware. So walking in, assessing the situation, and then kind of going about your visit so you have some sort of plan of action if something were to turn on a dime.
Yeah. But, everybody answers and they're, cute little old ladies or old guys. And they're like, I can't come to the door. So just let yourself in. I'll have it unlocked.
Yeah.
The amount of times, I mean, and I'm so used to just letting myself into people's houses. But then, like, at the same time, like, I always tell people, like, you don't truly know what is on that other side of the door until you
Right.
open that door.
Yes. So I just want to say thank you for coming on and joining me and sharing your story. And for people that are listening, just know we're not doing this to cause fear. We're not doing this to say, oh, home health is, wild. It can be, but just to
Yes.
know that some things like this do happen and just to know warning signs and what to do. So I really
I
appreciate
mean,
you taking the time and
my
joining
thing too
me.
is like home health is fantastic. That was something scary that
Fantastic.
happened. However, that happened 9 years ago and I'm still in home health. So like my good days
Right.
absolutely outweigh my crazy bad days any day of the week.
100%. Yes, I agree. I'm like, anytime I think of doing something else, I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I can't. I can't leave. I cannot leave home health.
I tell myself
So,
every day, and I always tell new people, like, I said, Medicare guidelines is 30 minutes. You can do anything for 30 minutes, whether that's just deep breathing and looking at people. You can do it for 30 minutes. I'm like, in a hospital, you are with them for 12 hours. I'm like, so remember that
yeah.
every day, you can do anything for 30 minutes.
Well, I will say Medicare does not have a minimum home time.
Yeah.
They
Our
don't.
company, our
Our
company
companies do. Yeah.
likes the
So
30
companies
minutes.
have the policy 30 minutes. But
Yes.
yes, you can do anything. But if you're in a situation where you're like, oh, it's at 22 minutes, 25 minutes, but I need to leave, you can leave that situation. You don't have to
Yes.
stay for those 30
No,
minutes.
nope. I always tell
But
people, I'm like, if
typically,
you go in
yes.
and you're
Yeah.
like, just leave, just leave. It's not worth it.
It is not worth it.
No,
All
no.
right. Well, thank you again for
Thank you so
joining
much.
and sharing your story. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.